Hi, I'm John Hornick. Welcome to lesson 21 of Chef's Apprentice, learning to cook like a pro, one small plate at a time. This lesson is smoked salmon roulade with Yukon gold potatoes. This is an elegant, if not decadent, small plate that combines several intense flavors: smoked salmon, potato, caramelized red onions, crème fraiche, and caviar. Preparing this dish will begin to teach you the skills of patience and using a delicate touch. Techniques today are slicing thinly, peeling potatoes, making a julienne cut, seasoning, sautéing, caramelizing, working with a mandolin and potatoes, blanching, shocking, sautéing, making a roulade, plating, and garnishing. So let's start cooking. Okay, here we are for lesson 21, smoked salmon roulade with Yukon gold potatoes. First, we'll start with our mise en place. One of my friends told me that I mispronounced it, but I have atrocious French, which is our ingredients. And of course, we're going to need smoked salmon. Here I have a brand that I got at Whole Foods. It doesn't have to be any particular brand. We have a pound of it. This comes already sliced in very thin slices. That's ideally what you want. If you get a hunk of it unsliced, you're going to have to slice it. So you want really thin slices of that. We'll also need some Yukon gold potatoes peeled. Now I'm not going to peel them till I'm ready to use them because I don't want them to brown. But I'd have 2 or 3 of them in case you mess up with any of it. You'll have some extra. We'll also need some thinly sliced red onion. I sliced these with a knife earlier. You can do it on a mandolin. We're going to be using a mandolin today, but I like to do the slicing, so I did it by hand. And this is, you'll need about a half of a large red onion, thinly sliced into rings. You'll also need an Asian pear, and that's been julienned. Now we did the julienne cut in an earlier lesson. It's also in the knife skills bonus lesson. And the julienne cut is a matchstick cut. And I cut these just a little while ago, and if you do them early and then you're waiting a while until you actually start cooking, you can take some lemon juice, squeeze over them, toss them in the lemon juice. That will keep them from browning. We'll also need about a cup of crème fraiche. Crème fraiche is a cultured, tangy, thickened cream. And this is a brand that I got at Whole Foods, Vermont Creamery Crème fraiche, but it doesn't have to be that brand. It could be any brand. You need about a cup of it. You also need about a tablespoon of chopped sage, fresh sage. I chopped it earlier today. That's going to be mixed into the crème fraiche. Need about 1 teaspoon of brown sugar. We will need some olive oil, could be any brand. We'll also need a high smoke point oil like avocado oil or canola oil. This is avo. And you'll need some caviar. Now it doesn't have to be an expensive caviar. It can be California caviar, it can be American paddlefish. This is a sturgeon, Malisol sturgeon from California, the Tsar Nikolai brand that I got at Whole Foods. You'll also need a Peppermill, and you will need some kosher salt. So that is all the ingredients we'll need for this lesson. We'll break now, come back, and we'll go over the equipment that we'll be using. Okay, let's talk about the equipment we need for lesson 21. Of course, we'll need a cutting board, we'll need a chef's knife, we'll need a peeler to peel the Asian pear. We'll need a saute pan. I've already put the onion slices into the pan. That's where we're going to be sauteing them and caramelizing them. We'll also need a small mixing bowl and spoon to mix the sage with the crème fraiche. We'll need a mandolin to make the very thin sliced potatoes. We'll also need a blanching pot. Now, we've used in the past a large blanching pot of water, but today we're going to use this pan that's on the stove here. This is really a frying pan, and I want it to be wide and shallow because once we blanch those potato slices, it'll be a lot easier to fish them out of the water if you have a shallower pan. And that water is coming to a boil now. You also need something to get the slices out of the water with. Use a pair of tongs, use a fish spatula, use any other kind of spatula that you might have, maybe a slotted spoon. We'll also need to have a bowl for the ice bath. This will be filled with ice later on. Need to have some paper towels to drain the potato slices. We'll need to have a brush to brush the roulades later on. And we'll need to have caviar spoon to spoon the caviar. Now, caviar spoons should not be metal. Today, a lot of caviar comes with a caviar spoon. The caviar I bought today came with this spoon. But if you don't have a caviar spoon, use a plastic spoon. If you use a metal spoon, they say that it imparts a metallic flavor to the caviar and kind of ruins the taste of the caviar a little bit. I don't know if that's really true, but that's what everybody says. Okay, so that's all of the equipment that we need. Of course, we'll need plates to plate up the dish at the end, but I haven't decided which ones to use yet, so we'll decide that later. So I'll break now, come back, and we'll start cooking. Okay, the first thing we're going to do, according to our prep list, is to slice the potatoes. Now, I've already peeled one of the potatoes. I'll peel the others off camera. And I've already taken a couple of test cuts on the mandoline. You might see that I sliced a little bit off of each side of the potato so that it would fit onto the mandoline. Okay? Now, I've taken a couple of test cuts. They're a little bit too thick. I'd say this one is about 1/8 of an inch thick. This one's about a little more than a 1/16. The 1/16 of an inch one is probably good. So I closed it down a little bit more to make it just slightly thinner, and we're just going to cut the rest of the potatoes. Probably going to need about 2 slices per person, possibly 3. So you might want to just slice up all 3 potatoes. If you have some left over, you can use it for some other purpose. Okay, these can be put into a bowl with some water or with some lemon juice to keep them from browning. I'll do that in a few minutes. Now, the next thing we're going to do is mix the crème fraiche with the sage. Now, I've already chopped the sage. We're just going to put the sage into the bowl with the crème fraiche, mix it around. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, and refrigerate that until you need it. So we're going to go off camera now, come back at the stove. I decided to come back on camera to show you these slices, which I should have done before. They are paper thin, they are very flexible. Okay, that's going to be important because we're going to be rolling these up to make the roulades. Okay, we're going to break now, come back at the stove. Okay, we're here at the stove. We have the heat on about medium. We're going to put our saute pan on the stove there, add some olive oil, and then we're going to add the onions. Brown sugar, a little bit of kosher salt, freshly ground pepper. Now we're going to cook these onions, let them brown and caramelize. It's going to take a while, so I'm going to do that in fast motion. Okay, these look pretty good. You can still see some of the red of the onion. You can see a little charring on some of the onions. Some of them are kind of golden. It's got a nice combination of colors, some beautiful caramelized red onions. Okay, so we have our blanching liquid at a boil. It's just water with some salt in it, so it tastes like the ocean. Add our potato slices. These have been in a bowl of water so that they won't brown. And we're going to let these blanch for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And then we're going to plunge them into an ice bath. Alright, so our timer just went off. We're going to take the potato slices out of the blanching water and plunge them into the ice bath to stop the cooking. Then we're going to drain them on paper towels. Okay, so we are ready to roll the roulades, and originally when I planned this lesson I was going to sear them using the high smoke point oil after they were rolled. But it really depends on how your potatoes are and the consistency of the potatoes, and I think for these we're going to be better off to roll them, brush them with olive oil, and then roast them in the oven. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take some salmon, take a slice of salmon that pretty much fits onto the slice of potato. Then I'm going to take a little bit of the red onion, not too much, and two or three slices, two or three of the julienned Asian pear, roll them up, and then put a toothpick through it to hold it together. And we will put those onto a roasting pan. So I'm going to do a couple of these on camera and in fast motion. Okay, there we go. We have, 11 of these. I'm going to make some more off camera. One thing I forgot to mention is the toothpicks I recommend using are flat toothpicks. They're less likely to cause the potato to tear. Okay, so now we have to brush the roulades with olive oil, top and bottom, and season them. Okay, now at this stage you can put these into the refrigerator and roast them later, or you can put them right into the oven. Okay, so we're going to take the sheet pan and put it into the oven, 350 degrees, and we're going to check them in 15 minutes and see how they're doing. Oh, they look beautiful. Now we're going to take them off of this baking pan and put them on this platter. We're going to serve them room temperature. Now I'm going to let them cool just a little bit before I garnish them with the crème fraiche and the caviar. If you don't let them cool a little bit before you put the crème fraiche on there, the crème fraiche may just melt like butter. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes and these seem to be at about room temperature. We're going to garnish each one with a little crème fraiche and then with just a little bit of caviar. Okay, there we go. This is lesson 21. You can see photos of the finished dish at my Instagram, which is at Chef's Apprentice Cook Like a Pro. Please remember to subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching.